Well, hello and welcome to Super Summer Series TV, Episode 3, as we look ahead to Round 3 this Wednesday evening. Another big round of games. Ben from Berkeley and Cohen, Berkeley Golf, welcome to the show. Looking forward to this Wednesday.
Thank you for having me.
A big show tonight again. Who's hot, who's not? We'll have a look at that. We'll preview Round 3. And then for the first time this season, we'll finish off with good shot, bad shot, and have a look at a few issues that we think need some commentary on. But let's kick it off with the ladder. We'll get through this really quickly. Two undefeated teams, Ben, Blue Gorillas and Water Cannons. Your thoughts on these two teams' start of the season?
Yeah, well, we'll get to the Blue Gorillas a little bit later, but the Water Cannons, yeah, they're a superior performer. They always seem to bob their heads up and have good waves of form. So good to see them back toward the top of the ladder, and in particular the Blue Gorillas, obviously very good to see them at the top of the ladder.
Cluster of teams, 0-1 win. Can't read much into that this early on, but three teams without a win. Spazball, Live Golf, and Specialist Fielders. And the big one there sitting last ladder at the moment is the Specialist Fielders. We'll talk about them. But yeah, Zip and 2. They really want to look forward to turning this one around.
Yeah, some disappointing teams there, and I know there are some underlying issues, I think, with those three teams that might surround and have a reason for their poor performances and start to the season.
Let's have a look at who's hot and who's not. The Blue Gorillas, top of the ladder, 12 pars, two birdies, and Matty Mullen's still out. So Wayne Johnson playing in with a fill-in player, different fill-in player for each of the first two rounds, but he's really doing some heavy lifting and playing with some rejuvenated energy and sense of purpose.
Yeah, well, it's great to see with Wayne Johnson and the Blue Gorillas to be top of the ladder. They've been shafted by the handicapper in previous seasons, and they're finally getting a little bit of a reprieve, and that's the reason for their strong performances. They had a couple of scalps last year. They know how to play the game, and they know how to win. It's just that I think they were handicapped out of the games.
Well, 2 wins. We'll see what the handicapper does this week to their handicap, sitting on top of the ladder and sitting pretty. Who's not? The Specialist Fielders. Last, no wins. Mitch Jamison yet to make it out onto the course for season 4 of Super Summer Series. So your thoughts on this? Is Zip and 2, is that a concern for the Specialist Fielders? Do they have the ability and that sense of mindset to be able to overcome this poor start of the season?
They do, because they've got Mitch Jamison coming back in, who is a probably top 3 golfer in the competition, in my opinion. And I have from a reliable source that he will be back for this week's game, and Mitch Jamison will be in. I think Luke Delbridge needs a Mitch Jamison. It's a bit like that Pete Venables saying, yin and yang. I think he needs a Mitch Jamison there to win games. It's not a great start for the season, but I think they'll bounce back, particularly with more performances and more appearances from Mitch Jamison.
He's been disappointed with the handicap, but hopefully Lukey Dell, I'm talking about, can focus this week on just getting out there, and hopefully Mitch will be with him and they can chalk up their first win of the season. Now, we've had our first letter to the editor for Super Summer Series TV in the few seasons that we've been running this show, Ben. And it relates to this man here in the pronunciation of his surname. The letter has come from his wife, Narelle, who I know well, and her issue has been, and she quite rightly points out, that since we've known Wayne, I've been pronouncing his surname as Wynnum, and that is actually incorrect. The pronunciation of the surname should be pronounced Wunham. That is the correct spelling. So we'll make sure that from now on in the Super Summer Series, we'll pronounce the surname right. That's Wayne Wunham. So thank you very much for the correspondence, Narelle. We apologise to the Wunham family for the years of mispronunciation, and we hope to get that right. And I think Wayne will celebrate. We know he's got a TikTok account. We may see more of this into the future. Some of his TikTok accounts, he may celebrate with a new one. And obviously, you can see more of Wayne on TikTok at Wayne Wunham at TikTok. So we look forward to that. You can get his handle there in a minute. But hopefully you may celebrate now with that proper pronunciation. So Wayne Wunham at TikTok. Let's get into the teams and the handicap for this round 3 match. First up, the Fuggies up against the St Albans Old Boys. We're going to be playing off the front. Don't read too much of the ladder positions. 1-1 for the Fuggies. 1 win to the St Albans Old Boys with a bye. Round 2, 4.75. They shot a 34 with a 39 off the stick. Not a great off the stick score for the St Albans Old Boys, but enough to get the victory. The handicap for round 2 for the Fuggies is 4, and the St Albans Old Boys come in at 4.25. So it's virtually off the stick match. Ben, how do you see this one?
Yeah, it's a semi-final replay and a bit of a rivalry, these two teams. They don't really like each other, all from St Albans. They get very competitive. I think the Fuggies will get the chocolates here after seeing the St Albans Old Boys performance last week. They were lucky to get away with it, in particular with the Commissioner's first shot of the day. Livio, I don't think he's recovered yet. He's still complaining about his sore shoulders, and I see the Fuggies coming over the top here.
Yep, it's off the stick, so it'll be an interesting one. And really, the best team should win. Whoever plays the best golf's going to win. It's as simple as that. The next match, Berkeley and Co. taking on Double Eagle. You're off the back, sitting with one win for Berkeley and Co. on a bye, 1-1 for Double Eagle. You had the bye last week with a handicap of 5. Round 2, 5.5 for Double Eagle, shooting a 41. The handicapper has taken Berkeley and Co. down to 4.5. And the Double Eagle, who started with 9 and after just a couple of rounds are down to 5. So that's 4 handicap clip to the Double Eagle in just the space of a couple of games. How do you see this one, Ben?
Yeah, look, I think we played some quality golf. We probably have some room for improvement. I know Double Eagle have started the season very strongly in particular with their round 1 win with a net score of 29. Obviously helped with their exorbitant handicap that they had. But I think so it's going to be off the stick. It's going to be a good battle. Andrew Graham can hit a good golf ball, and from all reports, Jules Guerra is a very good chipper of the golf ball. So I think it'll be down to the wire, and it'll go down to the last hole of the day in terms of who the victor will be.
Alrighty. Match of the round for me, this one. It is the Golf Gods versus the undefeated Blue Gorillas. Putting them off the back, the Blue Gorillas have only played the front. Sitting on top of the ladder, the Golf Gods have only played the back. So it'll be probably in terms of familiarity with the course, the Golf Gods may have the edge. They had a handicap of 3.5 plus last week, shooting a 38.5 off the stick. Handicap of 4 to the Blue Gorillas, shooting a 37. Going to be very interesting here. So off the stick, there's not much of a difference there between these two teams. Handicap of 2.25 plus, so they come down a bit after their loss last week. And a handicap of 3, so a full point clip there to the Blue Gorillas, but that is still a 5.5, 5.25 difference coming in to this round 3 clash.
It'll be make or break for the Golf Gods. They were left seething after their loss last week to the St Albans Old Boys. I know they can bounce back. I don't know if they will in this term. That really hurt them, that loss. In terms of the Blue Gorillas, they're flying. I see them as a real threat this season and a finals threat. In terms of who wins this, again, it's a flip of the coin. I'm going to say Blue Gorillas in a tight one, and it'll go down to the last hole as well.
All right, the next one is Spazball. Both teams undefeated here, so both teams without a win for the season. Spazball, the specialist fielders, 3.5 was their handicap in round 2, shooting a 41. The specialist fielders with a handicap of 2 plus, shooting a 41. That's not the stick score for a handicap of 2 plus. Noting that Mitch Jamison hasn't played yet. Hopefully Mitch is back this Wednesday. Let's have a look at the handicaps for round 3. 4.25 for Spazball. So the handicap are really rewarding their back-to-back losses. And for the specialist fielders, wow, that is a big handicap adjustment there into 0.75 plus. Still not even, still hard, but really have brought them back in from where they were at the start of the season. Ben, how do you see this one?
Yeah, the handicap adjustment for the specialist fielders is incredibly handy, in particular with Mitch Jamison coming back into the fold. I think Spazball will get the chocolates here. I think the two, Luke Delbridge and Mitch Jamison, haven't been playing too much golf this season. I'm not sure they've had too many practice rounds. Not sure if the connection will be there. And Bagger, he's had a couple of rounds to adjust to the new situation with his team. Obviously hasn't come off with a win yet, but I see him with his partner getting the win on this occasion.
It'll be a good one, a really good one, and a one to watch for sure. The next one is the Water Cannons, undefeated, up against Live Golf, yet to have a win, so it's 2nd versus 10th. The Water Cannons flying, Live Golf just yet to reach liftoff, but shooting well off the stick with a 36 last week, so virtually shooting par. And the Water Cannons shooting a 40. Their handicap for this week comes down by 0.25 to 4.5. Live Golf Going up to 1, so back-to-back losses. So there's 3.5 shots in this one. We've got BJ, who is clearly a quality golfer. I still feel the best of Mark is yet to come with his partner, doing some mentoring. A big game. How do you see this one? Live Golf need a win.
Water Cannons, I don't see it going any other way at the moment.
Big call.
We've been manifesting a Mark Ellison performance for the last 2 years, and it still hasn't happened. So, and I don't see it happening anytime soon at the moment. So I'm going to say the Water Cannons for me.
Water Cannons. Do you think though that if Mark can just lift by that 10%, that 15%, under the tutelage and guidance and direction of BJ, that they can just lift that game enough? 36 shooting par to shoot a couple of points under and really push the Cannons all the way.
No, Water Cannons win.
Okay, pretty emphatic from you there, Ben, on that one. Okay, the bye. The Goodfellas have the bye. Round 2 was 7.5. Can you believe it? They got a win. They got a win against Spazball, but yet their handicap just goes up by 0.25. So again, Goodfellas knowing how to play the system with a bye and coming back for round 4 with an increased handicap after a victory.
Yeah, the Goodfellas, they know how to play the system. They know how to play the handicap system, and there's a couple of things bubbling away there. Pete Venables walking off without even knowing if he had won or lost yet, and was already packing his car up, assuming they lost. Mick Sneddon very intrigued by what the scoreline would be, and obviously finding out last minute that they actually did get a victory. Now, I'm not too sure how Mick's going to take that. I think he might have to have a little chat to Pete Venables about that behaviour at the end of the game.
Rightio. Let's have a look at good shot, bad shot, Ben. Your segment. I'll kick it off and ask you the first question. The Blue Gorillas have been gifted their first 2 wins with an overly generous handicap.
Bad shot. They've been well overdue for a generous handicap. They've been, as I've mentioned before, shafted in the previous 2 seasons. It's a bad shot. It's a terrible call, really. I think they are well overdue for some looking after from the handicapper and some consistent and great golf, which has come to play in the first 2 rounds. For you, Commissioner, did the handicapper get it wrong in his debut as Deputy Commissioner and awarding Double Eagle a starting handicap of 9?
Bad shot, Ben. Bad shot. We've seen what the handicapper does at the start of the season with new teams when they're an unknown quantity. He gave them a handicap of 9. And let's face it, Andrew Graham shot one out of the bag. He would never have shot a net 29 off the stick with a handicap of 9 ever before in his life. The adjustment has come. We've already seen BJ in terms of adjusting handicap down after the first 2 rounds. So it's a real faster move on handicap adjustment that we've seen. Let's face it, the Fuggy started at 9. It took half a season for them to come down. They ended up winning a flag based on their inflated handicap at the start of the season. I think BJ was quite fair to give an inaugural handicap, but he's really seen some adjustment and brought it right back down.
Not sure I agree with that, but if that's your take as a commissioner, then that's fair enough.
Good shot, bad shot, Ben. The SSS should mirror the AFL and introduce a wild card round where 1 and 2 have an automatic gift into the finals, where 3rd place 6th and 4th place 5th for a crack at the finals.
Bad shot, terrible shot, bit of a shank really, that one. I don't agree with the AFL introducing it. It rewards mediocrity, and I agree in this sense here, and it just shows that the SSS Commission can lose its touch with its players and supporters in wanting to bring that wild card round in. It's an emphatic no from me. It's not welcome at the AFL level, and it's certainly not welcome at the SSS level.
Few teams, Ben, just miss out on making finals by losing a game here or there, where the handicaps traditionally been perceived as being a contributor to where teams finish, and once towards the end of the season they kind of level out. Does it give those teams a chance?
No, you got your 10 rounds to win games of golf and to get into that top 4. And if you miss those 10 opportunities, you shouldn't get any more opportunities to win games of golf. To go into a final series, it rewards mediocrity. It doesn't give you much to strive for. You strive for a top 4. You don't strive for a top 6 in the SSS.
All right, pretty emphatic from you there.
Yeah, Commissioner, obviously pretty. Everyone's seen it. Everyone loved it. Was your shot on the first tee the most embarrassing shot in SSS history to kickstart your new season?
Bad shot, Ben. Very bad shot. An absolute shank off the tee, that one. Almost as bad as my first shot. Was it embarrassing? Slightly embarrassing. Was it the worst shot ever seen in SSS history? Absolutely not. I've seen the good fellas, both Mick and Pete, have fresh aries. I've seen some horrible shanks. I've seen Pete Delbridge put it 90 degrees off the fairway into the water. So there's been a lot of poor shots in the SSS competition. I know we talk about this being the elite competition and being, having some really good golf, but we have seen some very poor shots, individual shots through the course of the history of SSS, and to put that one down as the worst shot in history is an absolute bad call, bad shot.
Wow.
All right, well, that brings us to the end of this week's episode. Again, Wednesday night, weather permitting. Hopefully, we'll get out there. Tee-off time's 5 to 5:30. We've had lots of registration fees coming in, so we really welcome everyone paying the $75 registration fee. If you haven't done it, please do so. You should have the bank account details. If not, reach out. Again, $20 green fee, Ben, and we look forward to the teams, where possible, coming back to the Keeler Hotel after the round to just have that social connection. So again, great to have all teams on the tee, and we're looking forward to another very competitive Wednesday night, and the season's starting to hot up.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll see you Wednesday night at Melbourne Airport for round 3 of the Super Summer Series.